Today I want to talk about a question that I get quite often, which is which sweetener is best? So of course we know that sugar makes our food sweet, but in the media we hear a lot about all these different kinds like stevia, aspartame, sucralose, which is Splenda, monk fruit. There are many different types of sweeteners, often deemed artificial sweeteners, because they are not sugar that is found in nature, right? So basically, let's back up to why we wanted to find these in the first place, why scientists even ever looked for them. So when we ingest sugar, it can be in the form of table sugar, which is sucrose. It can be in the form of fructose, which is in fruit. It can be in, there are many different forms of sugar, but basically all of these different types break down into glucose in our body. First, the glucose is in our bloodstream, which causes us to release a hormone, insulin. Insulin says, oh no, get that glucose out of my bloodstream and let's put it to use. That's a normal system. We all have that. We all want that to work properly, because too much, chronically elevated blood glucose can cause problems down the road. Now, when we have that system not operating properly, which is quite prevalent in our society today, where people have insulin resistance, often seen in things like type 2 diabetes or in metabolic syndrome. We get that, we still eat the sugar, our blood sugar spikes, and our insulin that system just has an error and it doesn't quite clear it out of our bloodstream. Again, we get high levels of blood sugar all across the board, which can cause a variety of health problems. So scientists kind of thought, well, what if we could make something that was sweet but didn't cause your blood sugar to increase? That would solve all our problems, right? Because also, sorry to break it to you, but sugar has calories as well. So oftentimes we eat sugar, we gain weight because we're overeating in calories because of that sweet, delicious food. So can we make something that doesn't have calories and also doesn't cause our blood sugar to increase? Yes, they found it, all right? They found it in many different forms. Like I said, I think the most common ones that I hear about are stevia, aspartame, Splenda, and maybe monk fruit. Now, there are many papers, many meta-analysis that say, yes, that does the job. It helps sweeten food, people like it, and it doesn't cause that blood sugar to increase. But what happens is, for a lot of people, it's just a Band-Aid. So if you already have an error in that insulin system, yes, you can continue to eat sweet foods, and it won't cause your blood sugar to spike, which means you won't have to supplement with insulin. But that's not actually fixing the problem if you have a solution that is fixable. If you are someone who is pre-diabetic, this can be a great thing for you to use, because it kind of stops that track that you're on of eating those sugars and eating, perhaps it's extra calories or just having those chronically high levels of blood sugar. That can be a great tool. If you're someone who is just wanting to lose weight, which means you're generally looking to cut calories, these can also be a great option for you, because these are 0 calorie. They're called non-nutritive because they have 0 calorie sweeteners. So they will just naturally, switching from something like sugar to something like stevia will generally just reduce your calorie intake, and that can help you lose weight. And again, many studies have shown that these are great in those two aspects. They can help people lose weight, and they don't cause that spike in blood sugar, which can be dangerous for people, for example, who have diabetes. But in almost all of these papers, we see over and over again at the very end that it says, but more research is necessary to see what the long-term effects are of using these non-nutritive sweeteners, and just to study that mechanism, because we really don't quite know exactly what's going on when we eat these. We know the results are that they do help people lose weight and they don't cause blood sugar increase, but exactly how they're working on our bodies, it's not 100% clear. So I would say, if you are okay with the calories in sugar and you can minimize it, I don't want anyone to overeat sugar, because that can wreak havoc on your gut, on your body, on your skin, on all these things. But if you need a teaspoon of regular sugar in your coffee every morning, I might just go with sugar. If you do want to reduce calories, or you are someone who has diabetes or has a history of insulin desensitivity, then I would probably go with a more natural one like stevia or monk fruit. Now remember that, we consider aspartame or sucralose, like Splenda, to be created in a lab. They're artificial, But remember that stevia and monk roots still have to be processed many times in a lab, because chances are you're not going out and picking a stevia leaf, chewing on it, and then drinking your coffee. To get it in the form that you use, it also needs to be processed. So it is just one more form of a processed food, but it is a better option. Often I would go for stevia over something like Splenda. So this is kind of where we're at. We don't really know the long-term effects, but they can have some really great opportunities for you if you're switching out your sugar with an artificial sweetener or a non-nutritive sweetener. It can be kind of a stepping stone for you. I wouldn't end your journey there, just switch, boom, boom, but maybe it can be a process of, okay, I went from drinking, my coffee with a bunch of that super sugary creamer in it to now I'm doing coffee with a little bit of stevia, to then eventually maybe I can just have some coffee without any sweetener. It can be a good stepping stone. So while they do have a lot of practical uses, it's important to remember that we don't know the long-term effects of how they really work in our bodies. So if you have any questions, if you have another idea or you're curious about a different sweetener that I didn't mention and you want to know how it plays or how it kind of ranks in the system, go ahead, drop me a comment below, and I'd be happy to reach out and do that research for you.